I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is called to order at 7:34 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Garlick?
Here.
Mrs. Mara?
Here.
Mrs. Riccardi?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Pazdar?
Here.
Mrs. Gunhone?
Here.
Mrs. Mara, would you open the meeting to the public for input and comment?
I will move to open the meeting to the public for input and comments on agenda items only.
Seconded.
Seconded by Mr. Grolick. All in favor?
Aye.
No input and comments. Mr. Smith, would you adopt motion A, please? Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want me to close it?
I apologize.
I move to close the meeting to the public for input and comments.
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Riccardi. All in favor?
Aye.
Almost there. Mrs. Riccardi, would you adopt motion?
Yes, I move to adopt all items on the above consent agenda.
I second.
Seconded by Mr. Smith. Roll call.
Mr. Garlick?
Aye.
Mrs. Mara?
Aye.
Mrs. Riccardi?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Pazdar?
Aye. Thank you. We'll move on to committee reports. Mrs. Mara, Chair for Facilities, Buildings, and Grounds.
Sure, thank you. One second, apologies. So as we continue to thaw out this week, very happily, there will be more updates to come as to the tennis court projects. Specifically, you'll note on the agenda, though, there were some rejected bids on certain upgrades for HVAC projects at the high school, and they are going back out for rebid. So we can keep those projects moving and in line with our timelines as best as possible. And that is all I have to report this month.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Mara.
Thank you.
As Chair for Budget and Negotiations, the only thing to report is that Mr. Smith and I and Dr. Nisanoff met with the Teachers Union regarding the contract negotiations. We made some great progress, still working towards finalizing some things, but we are moving forward, and I hope to report better things on the next meeting. And that's it for budget and negotiations. And Mrs. Riccardi, Chair for Curriculum Instruction and Student Achievement.
Thank you. I'd like to start by saying welcome, Will, to the Curriculum Committee, and thank you to Mrs. Opperman for your time and due diligence in presenting all the updates since our last meeting, in conjunction with assisting of the onboarding of Mr. Grolick. There was a lot to cover, and with that said, I will get down to it. There was an update to the ESSA accountability goals that were shared at the last meeting, and they're now using the 2022 and 2023 years as the baseline, and Emerson is looking very successful in our outcomes with this report. Our Otis training continues. We reviewed 2 of the baseline examples of how Otis can be used to track learning progress on a grade level. Whether the students are preparing, developing, proficient, or excelling, the reports were reviewed and showed high-level scope of an entire class progress per teacher. The second grade, we reviewed the second grade report today, and it gave a really great quantified progress analysis of specific lessons, such as writing skills, punctuation, and caps locks. I think that this is going to be a really great program for our teachers and ultimately for our students in the long run. Speaking of Otis, Emerson's own Kristen Vitale, she was named Otis's Star Spotlight Educator of the Month on their website. She's one of our 4th grade teachers. She has fully embraced Otis to enhance her classroom practices. She has started implementing it into her day-to-day as quickly as she could, and she has over 1,800 assessments entered into the program to date. She is helping the trailblazing of this initiative, and it's wonderful to see it utilized in the way that it is intended to be. We discussed teacher data meetings and new academic coordinators. also a great initiative. The goal is to improve student learning by regularly reviewing data at the classroom and grade levels and adjusting teacher practices accordingly. It's a cohort of teachers who are working to deep dive into current student work data to help plan ahead for classroom and targeted instruction initiatives moving forward. This not only provides a big picture view and constant evolution to better ourselves per grade level, but it will also help make for smoother vertical articulations between the grade levels. In curriculum and planning, we are starting to look a little bit into a mastery assessment idea for a math curriculum, which would be, how do I say this? It's something that we're looking into. It provides understanding of certain lessons that students are learning before they move on to the next lesson itself. So it's something that other towns have participated in, and it's absolutely been groundbreaking in the benefits of it, so that when the students are learning math, that they're not moving forward before they are ready to actually move forward. We are looking to upgrade and expand on our STEM program in our middle and our high school. Mrs. Opperman is reviewing the local STEM programs from other districts to help elevate our district offerings to our students. I think it's fantastic. There are some really wonderful programs out there that include core pathways with transcript endorsements, and knowing that this is something that's on our radar is wonderful and will hopefully broaden the scope of what it is that we can offer to our student body. We're also looking at special education program for the next school year for students coming from Volano into the junior, senior high school as a support that our out-of-district placement students returning to district may possibly need. For our professional development, our teachers were given a snow day on January 20th, which I'm sure that there weren't any complaints or many complaints. But in such, they will be making up the time that they missed from that day in future dates and in future hours that they will, need to make up. We had math professional development days at the end of January, including NJSLA prep for testing. We had representation at the state level show, Texpo, and we will be attending NJECC, which is right here in Montclair. So it's nice and local and provides the opportunity for other teachers to be attending since it is so close to home. Texpo provided insight into AI and where it's headed. And heading to NJECC, again, is more local. So hopefully we can get more people there. We have also recently partnered with Montclair State to expand our computer science professional learning. It's a great networking group and does offer other knowledge opportunities for us to expand on, including like what other grants are out there, what other districts are doing, and hopefully this will be fruitful for us. We've hired a math and English teacher AI lead in the junior senior high school to assist with the following goals. One is determining a shared AI use scale to inform plans and policies. 2 is to pilot and evaluate available AI tools for classroom teachers. And 3 is to develop advisory lessons around appropriate use for students and inform professional development needs for the staff. They will be meeting 2 times a month to get started. And then finally, Emerson Junior Senior High School is putting in a Conmigo trial, which focuses on SAT prep courses for grades 10 and 11, which is going to be a great offering since SATs are being taken again. So, and that concludes my report.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Riccardi. With that, we'll move on to individual board member reports. Mr. Gwelling.
Thanks. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Fairly brief report. We passed that benchmark of the 100th day of school, which was pretty exciting. So congrats to students and staff and families over that hump. And I know that day is always a big deal at Memorial, something I look back on fondly. I'm sure there's tons of great displays out down that hallway right now. Pretty pumped to hear Volano clubs are coming back again this week, which is just a great opportunity to offer students diverse types of experiences that are co-curricular, extracurricular, and so really psyched about that. Pumped about what's going on in theater. I'm super stoked for the Peter Pan production. I really encourage everyone in the community to go out and see the amazing work the students and staff do. They put in so much time and effort, and I know my family's personally really looking forward to it, as well as the Seussical musical at Volano as well. So, I'd like to give a shout out to Emerson Parents for STEM. Yesterday, along with the high school, they hosted the first Tech Challenge League Championship. It's a robotics competition. And it's called the Robo Wrangle. It's the same weekend every year here in Emerson. It's a big deal that we do get to host it, and it's such a wonderful showcase of students and faculty collaborating and literally building, programming robots. It's so impressive, and I think Emerson Parents for STEM is a great example of how community being involved in our kids' education really can elevate it. Without them, certainly that club would not be where it is. And spoiler alert, I'm super thrilled to watch yesterday the Robo Cavos, our junior senior high school robotics team, in fact won that competition yesterday, which is, it was amazing to watch. It's a big deal, and we need to all wish them luck. They're headed to the state championship, so pretty wild stuff and lots to be proud of. So thank you to the parents and staff who contributed to that. Congrats to our winter sports, athletes, coaches, teams, and we're all fired up to see spring sports underway and looking forward to going out and cheering our Cavos. Thank you, Ms. Opperman, for leading my first experience in the academic committee. To no surprise, but she really made sure I was very well prepared for my first meeting and spent a great deal of time doing so. And so sincerely appreciate it, and certainly look forward to working with her and Dr. Nisanoff and our chair, Ms. Riccardi, over the next year. That concludes my report.
Great, thank you, Mr. Brolick. Mrs. May.
Thank you. I have a brief report, and I don't want to be redundant for the comments. I feel like we do that almost every month. Sure. All of our accolades to our community and our students. Again, I am very excited for Mrs. Riccardi to be chairing the curriculum committee. I think she's going to do a fantastic job. You had a first great report, so kudos to you. At the end of January, shortly after our last meeting, I had attended the Bergen County School Board Association meeting where we did have a guest speaker. He is the Assistant Commissioner, Division of Field Support and Services for the Department of Education, where there was a lot of discussion, very contemporaneous at the time, heavy emphasis on certain funding measures and immigration's access to school as well. So that was an in-depth conversation right from the Department of Education. Looking forward to one of my favorite events of the year at the beginning of March, which is the Bergen County School Board Association Unsung Hero Awards ceremony being hosted at the Bergen Community College this year. It is one of my favorite because it's incredibly moving to see how these our school districts throughout Bergen County lift up every single one of the students in the most marginalized pockets that they will find, the ones that are not perhaps going to be the star athletes or the stars in all of the school musicals, but they define the fabric of our community in so many other ways and are just stellar examples of just how well our schools are succeeding in making sure that every single child is given opportunity to shine, and it's a beautifully moving ceremony. I believe that it is open to the public too, so it's on Tuesday, March 4th, and again, it's at Bergen Community College. I do hope that everybody enjoyed their short little midwinter break. I'm sure the kids were great for 2.5 days coming off of that. That must have been fun, so kudos to our teachers. Continued appreciation to our finance committee and to the central office on their work for negotiations and their efforts on the budget. And that concludes my report at this time.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Mara. Mrs. Riccardi.
Thank you. Also, I will not be redundant. So I do want to say a preemptive thank you to our PTA as they are ramping up for the ladies' night out that's coming up. Hopefully I know it's going to be a great time. It'll be a fun time for all. And it's also their largest fundraiser of the year. So thank you to everybody who participates and has donated. I lied. I am being redundant. The 100th day of school was fantastic. I couldn't, seeing my 4-year-old dressed up as a little old man is a great thrill of mine. So thank you for offering such opportunities for him. And Memorial is also starting their clubs again, which is going to be fantastic for all those who partake. So, I also had the opportunity of going to the competition here yesterday for the robotics team, and we watched the RoboCavos in their competitions, and they did make their way to the state championships, which is so fantastic. My kids just adore it. They love it. We came last year. We came again this year. Thank you to Marcy for letting me know that this was happening. And it has really just sparked an interest in my little guys, and it's neat to see that fostering we'll call it now, so that we can continue to foster it. So maybe one day they will be down there competing. And I too am looking forward to going to the high school musical of Peter Pan. Should be a great one to attend. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Riccardi. Mr. Smith.
Sure. So one thing Mr. Pazar left out, I think, was the first time during a negotiation meeting we had a field trip. We came over and we watched Kayla Ellick score her 1,000-point. We stopped the meeting midway and said, we got to go make a beeline to watch that, which is pretty neat. To see student athlete do that is exceptional. I had the pleasure of coaching Kayla for years. Great player, loves the sport, so that was neat. So congratulations to her. Also, our bowling team has really taken off, and hopefully I'm not stealing your stuff. But again, these are folks that students that I've coached in the past in other sports and know them. The good thing about that team, from what I was looking at, and correct me, is a lot of them were sophomores and freshmen. So there's a lot of runway here for future wins and league titles and all league and all that good stuff. And I've, over the last couple of weeks, attended a couple of wrestling matches, both the young folks and the Tuminelli tournament and districts, up through our varsity doing fairly well down in their districts. We have a couple going on to the regional tournament, which is not an easy feat. My son wrestled for years. I know how frustrating and hard it can be. And also, when I look at the younger group, it's great to see how many are the program's really striving. There's really grown a lot. There's girl wrestlers, female wrestlers more than ever, which is great. Competing, doing well, and at that age they compete against whoever's their weight, boy or girl. So it's pretty neat to see. And Emerson's got a long history of having a great wrestling program, and it looks like they're going to continue that. So that's really it for me.
Great, thank you, Mr. Smith. Beauty of providing the board president report after everybody goes is that you guys have done all the heavy lifting, so thank you for that. But I will be a little bit repetitive. A thank you to Mrs. Riccardi for chairing the academic committee now. Great report, and look forward to the in-depth reporting as always, as Ms. Mara has provided in the past, and looks like you'll be continuing with that as well, so thank you. I want to thank Dr. Nisanoff and Mr. Mamora for their work on two different areas. One is the budget, which is, as we all know, very easy to do, so, but thank you very much. I know it's hard work, and I appreciate as you guys work through that. And also for your support for Mr. Smith and I as we work with the contract negotiations. And there's a mountain of data that you provide us and help us understand it and give us insight, and we very much appreciate that. So thank you for that. Dr. Nisanoff, I want to thank you for your 5 a.m. wake-ups over the last couple of weeks to let us know if we have school or not. So I know that's difficult. Thank you for that. Mrs. Mara mentioned the Bergen County Unsung Heroes event. Unfortunately for me, I won't be able to attend that this year. It's something that I actually look forward to. It's a great event, as you said, so it would be good that you're going to represent Emerson there, and let us know how that goes, and look forward to see who will be getting that award. Congratulations to Kayla. It was a nice little break from the teachers' negotiations where we all went into the gym and got to witness her accomplish that great milestone. And it was nice to see not just our own kids cheering for her, but to watch the other team clap and applaud and recognize that, and it's just nice to see that. So Congrats to Kayla. Congratulations to RoboCavos, fantastic accomplishments there, so looking forward to hear how they do in the next round. And high school play coming up, please get out there and support the kids for that. And my next county and state school board meetings will be coming up. I don't have the dates, but I will provide updates as they relate to Emerson. So that's my report. We'll now pass it on to Ms. Ronpan for the student representative report.
So there's a lot going on at the high school. Just recently, we had Kindness Week where the student council wrote cards to teachers and staff and hand-delivered them to just bring a little bit of joy to their day to show how appreciative we are. We also had carnation sales where students can purchase a carnation to be delivered to a peer or a teacher, staff. So that's another thing that was brightening people's day. It was really great to see. And again, not to be too repetitive, but we were really excited to see the success in the extracurriculars and the winter sports with the RoboCavos and the bowling team's league championship, wrestling, some people moving on to regions. Boys and girls basketball both have their first round of their state tournament on Wednesday. The girls are home at 4:30. So we're very excited to have the community here supporting, and the boys are away at New Milford at 7. Within the classroom, the junior class has been provided with SAT prep time. It is 1 hour a week that's allotted to use an online resource, Khan Academy, which is great. It personalizes the experience. It takes your PSAT score and the areas that you need the most improvement so that you can get that time to improve on those skills before the April SAT, which is really exciting. And then the high school students are really excited for Read Across America, where Student Council will be visiting Memorial to give a lesson and share some of our favorite childhood books, to share the love of learning and reading. And the National Honor Society students will be visiting Volano to do a similar lesson and again share the reading, and we're really excited for that. It's a consensus among all the high school students that visiting Memorial Volano is always a great experience to see the kids and to see the teachers. It's always a fun time. And again, not to be too repetitive, but we are very excited for Peter Pan opening night of March 7th. We cannot wait to see all the hard work show on the stage.
Great job, thank you. Moving on to Dr. Nisanoff, Superintendent.
Sure, I'm not going to be repetitive. I'm going to do my best not to. But before I do, oftentimes we've talked in previous meetings about all the things that Kylie does, all the sports she plays, the committees and all those things. There's one thing that I was probably left off the list. Many people may not know this, but every Friday, Kylie DJs for the high school, and she compiles playlists from faculty members throughout the year. And every Friday, you may notice this if you've ever been in our school on a Friday, in between classes in the 3 or so minutes passing, our songs are being played. It's just great, and it's all the faculty members, correct? Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that coming up in a week or so is going to be like one of the most anticipated playlists ever, right?
Everyone's talking about it.
Whose would that be?
All the teachers, students.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. How about next week? Whose playlist is everyone really talking about?
I think it's going to be DJ Dr. Nisanoff.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone's going to be really excited about that. But thank you for a great report, Kylie. Basketball, I don't know how many points you have going into your senior year.
I don't know, a couple hundred.
Okay, good. I bet if we looked at your rebounds, you're probably breaking some records there, though.
Almost.
Good. Keep up the great work, Kylie. Thank you.
That's great.
Last embarrassing question. You have a book picked out for Read Across America? Because I gotta
do.
come up with something too, and I want to make sure.
I like the Piggy and Gerald books. Those are always my favorite.
Awesome.
Solid.
Great. Okay, so not going to talk about Read About America. Check. States. Clubs, you mentioned clubs at Volano. I should also mention that we have over 100 students participating at clubs at Memorial are getting ready to start up, so we're pretty excited about that. Can never say enough about the play. You have to come see this play. Thank you, Marcy, for all STEM's work with the Robo-Cabos. The only thing I'm going to just ask, I don't know if you said it and I didn't hear it, how many teams participated in this competition?
There were 20 there yesterday.
20 teams. So this wasn't like a competition with 3 or 4 different schools. There were 20 teams all throughout Bergen County. Some of the schools, academies were there. Some of the private schools were there. Many of the private schools were there. Becton. Sure. So it was great to see to see Emerson perform so well and come out on top. So we're really proud of them. That's all I have on my report because I promised I wouldn't be repetitive of everything that was said.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Nisanoff. Mr. Momora, Business Administrator's report.
Thank you. So, a very busy month of February for the central office. A lot of frying pans in the fire right now, juggling between negotiations, budget, and as we saw, Mrs. Mara reported tonight, we had some facility and operations items that we're working on right now. So last week we had a bid opening for 2 HVAC projects that we're going to be rejecting at tonight's meeting, but we're going out to bid again. So that bid is going to be on March 12th. And then also going out to bid on March 18th is our turf field project. So we have 2 major facility projects that are going out to bid in March. In addition to that, the tentative budget for the 25-26 school year is going to be on the March agenda as well. Tomorrow the governor is going to be giving his budget address, and on Thursday we'll be getting the state aid figures released so we can really dial in on the budget and work together with Finance Committee to have a tentative budget awarded in March. So that concludes my report.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Momora. We'll now, Mr. Gralla, could you open the meeting to the public for input and comments?
Sure. I move to open the meeting to the public for input and comments.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Mara. All in favor?
Aye.
If you could stand and, as always, state your name and address.
Marcy Paserchia, 57 Washington Avenue. I just wanted to thank everybody for the Robo Wrangle. It was incredible. We had the chorus sang the national anthem. We had NHS students directing kids where to go, how to get there when it was time to be up. We had parents everywhere helping. We had board members and superintendents and principals in the stands. It was just an incredible experience. The win was a bonus.
Hi, Mark Setzel, 186 Able Drive. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Nisanoff, for your letter that you sent out last week about the families here in Emerson and the inclusive environment. I'm a parent of a child with an IEP, and so being able to, one of the things that appealed us to come to Emerson was the fact that students of all backgrounds were allowed to be participated and integrated into a school district. It's one of the reasons why we moved here, lived here. So I appreciate that. I'm also the treasurer for a local food pantry, who has during this time have seen a rise and increase of people and families as well. So I know especially for those families that are living with food insecurity, having a place where they can feel welcome and included and that it's where kids can just be students is really important and valued, and I really feel that here at Emerson. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
To piggyback on the letter, can I just ask, what was the purpose of the letter? I just wrote the email, the letter you sent out. I don't know if you're going to answer. Maybe you're not going to answer. but I just didn't know what the intent was. What did you want to get across to the community? And did the whole board preview the letter and approve the letter before it went out to the community? And then third, the IEP comment. 504s, IEPs, aren't they covered? IHP, that has nothing to do with DEI. That's protected in its own class. DEI came about in like 2022. So my son, anyone who has a 504, any medical condition, they were never threatened. Their funding was never taken away. I think that letter was a little misleading. I just wanted to say that. Oh, and one more thing. I don't like the use of the word medically fragile. My son's not fragile.
Okay, if no other comments, Mr. Smith, would you mind closing the meeting to the public?
I motion to close the meeting to the public for input and comments.
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Riccardi. All in favor?
Aye.
And Mrs. Riccardi, could you adopt motion B, please?
Yes, I move to close the meeting to public and adjourn at, 8:06 PM to discuss an executive session personnel matters in the conference room of the Board of Education offices. No action will be taken at this time. The board will return to open session upon completion of discussion and may or may not take action at that time. The next meeting of the Board of Education is scheduled for March 24th, 2025 at 7:30 PM in the High School Media Center.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Mara. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
Sure.